and welcome or welcome back to Rural Living and Innovation. I am Anelingoya Matuz Mishangfelindlela Ukushitash please, my mama's baby. Thank you for joining me for this episode. In this episode, I am coating a plank countertop with epoxy resin. I wanted to have that like marble finish sort of look without paying the cost of marble. So I have some like epoxy like pigments. I've got a couple. I've done a couple takes of this, so I'm no longer like really invested, but like here are the colors that I am not going to use for this project, but I've already selected my colors. Actually, I'm gonna switch out the green. I'm very undecided between these two colors, but this is like a meter by a meter or a bit less than a meter by a meter, and I'm just doing like a test on this countertop before I apply it on the countertop that is in the kitchen. I'm a bit stressed. I've had these products for a while. I did an unboxing video a while back. Please check it out from Take A Lot. Maybe I'll get a sponsorship from them sometime. But I've been buying a lot from them, so it would be nice to get some of my money back. But I got these from Take A Lot, including the pigment I also got from Take A Lot. I think the epoxy and the hardener was about 700 rand. I can't remember what pigment cost, but yeah, let's do it. So based on the size of the things, I think this should be a 2 to 1 ratio, and I've got a scale here to measure it out. I'm going to like mix the pigment here, and then I'm going to keep the white in here. I'm going to make it white with a bit of like I don't know how to call it. Anyway, let's get into it. It's called Behaviour and the moss green. So I cut my finger on this side, and I really tried to put on this like glove, and I was just like, I'm not gonna take it off. These gloves are a bit small. Anyway, so let's try and read the gloves. They say we're protective. What? Mix ratio by weight. 100 to 42. I'm so confused. What is 100 by 42? This is the S. I guess 1 kg is 42. Divide by 10. Yeah. Okay, so it's like 2 is to like 1 almost. So I am going to measure exactly 100 grams. So I'm going to measure 100 grams of this, and then 42 grams of this. Oh shit, I'm not showing the thing. So this is the countertop. Anyway, so 100 grams of this thing. So as I started measuring, and then I realized 100 grams is actually a bit too little. So I added 200 grams more. And yeah, so I ended up making 300 grams of the soft part, and then I added 120 something grams of the hardener. And then you have to stir this until it's like properly mixed, and then I added the pigment to the mixed shandies. So I had decided, I thought like this, it says something blue, the white looking pigment. When you read the label, it says something blue, and I had thought that it would be white, and my intention was to have a white countertop with like these purple and orange lines, but it didn't turn out that way, as you'll see shortly. I don't know what this is, child. that white turns out blue once it's mixed with the moisture. And then also I shouldn't have poured it into the container. I've seen other people do this method on YouTube and I thought it would work, but it didn't. And as you can see, I did not have enough epoxy. So I just decided, let me just do the other countertop also and use a different method since I've already started, instead of having to start all over. So for this countertop, I was going to use that white pigment. It's a bit blue actually, and then this purple pigment. I was like, the base is purple and then it's going to have, it was supposed to have decorative spots or lines. I didn't really care for what the design was, but as long as the base was purple and then the color like was kind of white. These are the purple is kind of a color that I use on my website and in my design, so I thought it would work also. I don't know, but it didn't. Like I had put tape, you can see in the other counter also. I'd put tape around the table to hold the epoxy once I poured it. So you can see that like I'm using a different method here. I'm not pouring the colors into a container. I'm first pouring the base and then spreading it, and then I'm going to pour the color. I thought this would harden a lot quicker, but it actually takes about 72 hours to like fully harden. And then I poured the lighter color. It looks so cool like this. I think actually I should have just left the pigment in the container for a few hours, like 8 or 12 hours, so that it hardens a bit before pouring it, because then it wasn't going to run as much as it did. Like you can see that it runs a lot, and that's what the tape is for. It's to hold the epoxy, and then once the epoxy has set a bit, you're supposed to strip the tape and let it drip, so that the sides of the counter are also the same color as the top. But mine was so runny, I had to then like tilt the cupboard, that the like backwards. I had added a tilt to it a bit, because you can see I poured from the back and then it was running to the front, because I thought it would take a long time for it to mix. The other one took a while to mix, and so I was under the impression that this would do the same. So now it's running and I'm just running a tilting game together with it. But look at how cool it looks. If it had sit like this, I would have been a lot more satisfied with the outcome, because it looks really dope. It's a metallic blue and a metallic sort of purple. Yeah, and it runs a lot, and it was running in the corners, and my tape wasn't taping the way it was supposed to tape. But overall, the tape served its purpose by holding the epoxy until it dried. In this case, I didn't remove the tape to let the epoxy drip, because it already was thin on the counter. If you enjoy this type of content and you find it useful, please like and subscribe to this channel, and you'll be notified when you'll be aware, or you see it on your feed when I publish the next episode. Yeah, so when I came in the next morning, the epoxy was more set, and here's how it looked. You can see in some areas the wood still shows beneath, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah, so thank you for watching this episode, and I really hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.